Extreme Collectibles here, mixing it up, both figuratively and literally. First, I'm mixing it up figuratively because I'm switching up kind of the statues I've been reviewing lately. This is a piece I've had for a while. It's part of my throne collection. And literally, I'm mixing it up because one of the things I like to do with a lot of the switch outs of pieces I have is see if they go well with other characters. So for example, I have a custom Thanos on Throne head, so I use the original head on the Doctor Doom on Throne, like Doctor Doom just destroyed Thanos. Here, as you can see, we have XM Studios Hulkbuster battle damage piece below. So really, really cool. It kind of fits the theme of this statue. But let's just dive right into reviewing this beast. Extreme Collectibles here with custom quarter scale Hulk on Throne statue. This guy was made by a custom company and they've made quite a few different pieces. I don't know if they're still around or not, if they're making new ones or not. Someone can educate me. I bought this secondhand from a very reliable source. I don't know what the original retail was, and I don't know what the ES is. It's not on the bottom of the piece. It does have the sticker, but no ES, total ES number. Right now you can purchase him for around $1,200 to $1,500 plus shipping. The box, as you can imagine, is gigantic simply because the base is one large piece. The Fantastic Four flag in the back comes off. His right hand comes off with the axe. And then, of course, the Hulkbuster is different. The sword is a separate piece. Otherwise, all one piece, which is kind of cool for Hulk. And I think I paid around $1,500 shipped, I want to say, so not too bad. I purchased him because I'm a big Throne guy. I have a huge Throne collection. Eventually I'm going to review them all. I believe Apocalypse on Throne, he's been reviewed, so go check that out if you haven't seen it yet. It's really, really cool. And I absolutely love this piece. One of the reasons I really like reviewing stuff is because I fall back in love with the pieces. And as you can see, this guy is just monstrous. So height with the Fantastic Four flag, that's Fantastic Four flag. Fantastic Four flag, which is removable, is about 35 inches. It's about 26 without. The depth on this sucker is about 18 or 19, and the width is about the same. So he will command a lot of space, but if you love Hulk and you love Thrones, you definitely want to dive into this guy. So concept and design, obviously this is King Hulk from the comics. This is kind of the end of times, end of the world. There's a lot of cool Easter eggs because he's destroyed many of the other heroes, actually almost all the other heroes. So first Easter egg is obviously the Fantastic Four flag, which is actually the bottom of a street sign of course, 31st and 16th Avenue. And then in his left hand, he's crushing Iron Man's head, which is pretty cool. Underneath the XM Hulkbuster piece I added is actually Xavier's symbol for the School for the Gifted. So some really cool Easter eggs of everyone that Hulk's destroyed, because let's face it, in the end it would probably be Hulk or Wolverine left standing. So I really like the fact that I have so many different Throne statues, and the concept of this is really true because Hulk would be the one standing in the end. I remember, and this was from the MCU of course, but in Avengers, one of the greatest movies of all time, the original Avengers, Bruce Banner says, "You can't kill me, I tried. I put a bullet in my head." So I don't think Hulk can be defeated personally, and I know there's a few different variants in the comic lines where he is and isn't. But anyway, Gladiator, you know, King Hulk is sitting here, he has the crown on his head. He's badass. He has all of his enemies vanquished below him. He has some giant weapons, a giant sword, a giant axe, and he's sitting in a rock throne, end of the world, very stoic, geared up in all of his king outfit, gladiator outfit. So very, very cool concept. I think it's awesome. I really love it. And getting into the sculpt and paint, I think the concept and design on this is great. I think the sculpt and paint is good. It's not the best I've ever seen, and it's certainly not the worst. First, starting with this base, this is a crazy, huge, rocky base that there's different aspects to it. There's good sculpt, good design, there's some good texture, and I like how the paint actually makes it look very, very similar to what this type of concrete rock would be. So it is good. It's not great, but there's a lot going on here, as you can see. One of the things that's cool is they have some of the post-tension cables popping out every once in a while. So this was obviously part of a building or a street. And there's some good coloring on there, some good copper coloring. Xavier's School for the Gifted looks really good. There's some good aged copper weathering. The sculpt looks good. His sword looks okay. I think they could have done much better. It is removable though, so if you don't like it, you can just simply take it out. But it just looks a little dull to me. And the handle, again, the paint doesn't really pop that well. And the same exact thing with the axe. It looks good, not great. I think there was some lost opportunity. One thing I do like about both this and the sword is there's so much battle damage. So you can tell he's been in a war. Which is another side note. I was having this conversation with somebody recently. There's so many statues out there that are like this, where you can tell they just went to war, or ones where they're some dioramas or some X-Men Sentinel pieces, and the character is flawless. Like, they haven't, you know, got dirty at all. Shit, I get dirty by 9 a.m. and I'm not fighting anybody. So sometimes I think that's lost on the concept and design. Moving on to Hulk himself. First of all, I don't like his shoes. I don't like the paint spatter they used on him. I understand they were trying to follow some of the gravel, but it looks wrong. It looks cheap. The sculpt is okay on his sandals. It's rare you see Hulk with shoes or sandals, of course. And then moving up, first of all, his outfit, this leather looks good. There's some good texturing to it along the seams. There's some good paint, and there's some variations in the paint too. It's not just a solid brown color, but some browns and blacks. And again, they have some battle damage, some markings, so you can tell that it's not brand new. And that goes all the way up to his loincloth. And it's very, very similar around there. There's some cool looking buckles on the side of it that look real. This statue is 100% sculpted. And then he has kind of that same buckle leathery strap across his chest, which I don't know the point of that, but it looks really good with the statue. And then moving to the anatomy of Hulk really quick. First on his legs, I really like the anatomy on this Hulk. It's a very athletic Hulk. And what I mean by that is there's not muscles growing on muscles. So they did a great job with the anatomy, the definition of his thighs and his chest and even his biceps. And one thing about Hulk, he has these gauntlets that, again, they kind of remind me of the sword. There's something about the paint that just doesn't pop on me, but there are some battle markings on there on both sides. It looks okay. His hands, I'm not a fan of his hands, especially his hand holding Iron Man. His fingers don't look right. There's something severely wrong with them. It looks, it doesn't look natural. It looks almost squarish, not roundish, and very, very skinny. Maybe it's the position of them. And then on the bottom of his gauntlet on his left arm, his shoulder gauntlet in his armor, you have more of those straps. And the color is a little bit of a miss unless he's wearing some type of padding, which I assume he must be because it's not Hulk's skin color. And then moving on to his portrait, I like his portrait a lot. I think it's very Hulk-like, it's very classic. They didn't take away too much from trying to stick with King Hulk. He has his crown, his gauntlet, which looks okay, but there's some good sculpt and definition in his face, kind of that nice grimace. And then the coloring on Hulk is really good too. I think it's very accurate. There's a few different greens and blacks in there, and even almost some yellows and browns, but it's done very well. So those are my thoughts on King Hulk on Throne Custom. This is, again, quarter scale. Let me know your thoughts on this piece. I know there's a Maestro on Throne too, but that one sells for like twice as much. I'm just not a huge fan of the character. I do have one coming in Phase 4 diorama, but let me know your thoughts on this. If you're a Hulk fan and you want a Throne piece and you get an opportunity to get this guy, I would definitely do it. So thanks so much for watching. Please let me know your thoughts. Please subscribe if you haven't. Take care.